Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 13th of July and I welcome you all to the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. So guys, let's start with the video. In the today's video, we are going to take the entire analysis of the Hindu newspaper. We'll take all the articles along with the background and way forward. And I would also like to tell you that you can download the explainer notes of this session from our Telegram channel. Link for Telegram is given in description box in YouTube. Now, first of all, let's take the overview of entire newspaper so that we can understand that which articles are actually important in the today's newspaper. So here we have the Hindu newspaper. Now, on the first page, June inflation quickens to 4.8%. Guys, on inflation, there is one editorial. We'll take that. However, you are not required to track month by month inflation data. Okay, that where retail inflation, food inflation is going on. Why? Because by the time your exam will come, this particular data would have changed. So no need to track it. However, you need to understand this particular thing that over the past 2-3 years after the COVID, particularly the inflation have many multiple number of times and for a long period of time has been outside the comfortable range of inflation targeting. That is the basically as per Urjit Patel committee, inflation should stay between 2 to 6%, but it has been on the higher end. Now moving on, after that guys, we have not much important articles with respect to the examination. So in the regional section also, the regional issues, advertisements and all such kind of things have been given. So we don't have much issues here. There is this article, ISKCON punishes monk. We'll see this particular article with respect to the ethics GS paper number 4. Then we have again these advertisements and all such kind of things going on. Then coming to the editorial page, loot, intransigence and the darkening of colonial blot. Okay, so basically guys, the article is giving an idea that how in the past Britishers, they have went to the different colonies, loot, plunder have been carried. Now guys, basically when we talk about the Shashi Tharoor, he has been also the author of An Era of Darkness and the Battle of Belonging. Okay, so basically the article guys, it is having a literary undertone. If you have interest and want to read such articles, you can go, but for the exam point of view, find much important substances not there. Fine. Then further moving on, quiet diplomacy, South China Sea tension. We'll see this particular article with respect to the exam. Then CPI basket, this article also will see with respect to the examination. Then guys, stagnant grants and soaring fees fuel US student debt crisis. So the article is talking about the student debt, basically the student debt which has increased. Okay, how many number of federal student borrowers, cumulative student debt and all such numbers. For our UPSC examination, again I will advise you not to go too much in detail in that how much is the average debt in a foreign US student or such things. On text and context, we have important article, partial app bans. We'll take this article. Then National Research Foundation will take this article also. Then guys, on the next page, K literature translators ensures book 2 are accessible for all across the world. So basically guys, this article is a bibliography article where these 3 books, their references, their plots are being discussed. Okay. Then guys, further moving on. After that, we have basically after the editorial section, we don't have much of the academic news. We largely have these political issues, political developments that are going on. Okay, so guys, we will move on in this particular direction. Center to buy tomatoes from south and west and will sell in north cities because of the inflation. 293 people stranded in Lahore Spiti district, rescue operations going on. Fine. Then on the world page, Zelensky persists with bid for Ukraine's NATO entry. Guys, understand this particular thing that you are not required to go too much in detail in such kind of a things, because Russia-Ukraine war every day one article is fixed. So ball by ball entry is not to tracked here. Then after that guys, European Parliament has supported the biodiversity bill, which is aimed at conserving the lands, water habitats, okay, all such kind of things. Then further moving on, after that, IIP rises 5.2% led by infrastructure. So basically guys, we see this particular thing that in the last 3 months, okay, the IIP has grown. Then below we have the corporate trends. Fine. Goyal meets Badenoch to spur India UK trade talks. Okay, moreover guys, one important upcoming meet is also there where the Prime Minister will be visiting the France. Okay. Then we have the sports page, and towards the last, we will we'll have this science page where welfare schemes may help poor children's brain grow normally. So this is the article that we are also going to see. So this is, guys, all about this particular this is all about the session. I hope that you have understood it, and now let's discuss all the relevant articles one by one in the detail. Okay, so let's take all the relevant articles one by one in the detail. Okay, sir, notes are not available in Telegram group. Okay, dear, please check now. It is available now in the Telegram group. You may please check again. Now let's discuss the relevant articles one by one. So in every class, we start with the GS quotation, where we take ideas to complement with our exam. So today we'll take the quotation from Albert Hubbard, who says that responsibility is the price of freedom. So you have many types of freedom: freedom of speech, expression. Fine. Now these freedoms are not a license that you will do as you want. These freedoms always will have reasonable restriction, and these reasonable restrictions you have to understand. It is your responsibility. So responsibility is a price, fine, that will always be coming with the freedom. Freedom can never be absolute. You can use this particular idea in GS paper number 2 as well as in GS paper number 4 ethics. We can use it. Now the first article for the today, uh, is it possible to have partial app bans? Is it possible to have partial app bans? Now this article will see with respect to the GS paper number 2, fundamental rights. Within the fundamental rights, right to internet, as well as within the fundamental rights, right to speech and expression. Right to speech and expression will take this particular article. Okay, one thing, okay, now moving on, guys, in this particular direction. First of all, I would like to tell you some of the basic background information. First of all, guys, when we talk about internet, right to internet has been recognized as a basically right to internet has been recognized as the crucial one by the Supreme Court in the Anuradha Bhasin judgment. Fine. So in the Anuradha Bhasin judgment, right to internet has been recognized as a crucial right and should not be suspended at the whims and fancies of the state. And even the internet is the medium for the free speech and expression, because today through the social media, through the internet platforms, people are able to express their viewpoints. Moreover, guys, many other fundamental rights, for example, basically your fundamental right to occupation, also gets impacted if internet is suspended. Why? Because today many of the businesses, they are happening on the internet. Then even article number 21A, right to education, also gets impacted if the internet is suspended, because today the online education, fine, e-education has become a very important and a big phenomena, particularly after the COVID-19. Now, Manipur crisis is going on. Before that, Jammu Kashmir, there have been the internet shutdowns that have been carried multiple number of times. And between 2019 to 2022, 60% of the internet shutdowns have only happened in India. Now, in this particular direction, guys, recently the Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, has given a proposal that why to completely shut down the internet, can we have the selective internet ban? Now, what do we mean by this selective internet ban? For example, guys, why internet is shut down? It is because so the miscreants don't spread fake news, they don't mobilize the rule breakers at a particular place. Okay, so these things, internet is broken down. Now these things usually happen on WhatsApp, Facebook, or these social media websites. Why, if we selectively impose ban on only them and general internet is left open? So can that particular kind of thing can be done or not? On that particular thing, TRAI has asked for a consultation. Now, guys, whether the selective internet shutdown is possible, how this will happen? So it will happen where the telecom operators and the messaging apps platforms such as the Messenger, WhatsApp, they have to collaborate. Now, for example, telecom operators Jio, Airtel will ask the WhatsApp that you please suspend your services in this particular region, okay, because the government order has come. And only when both of them agree, then these particular apps could be banned. Okay, now, guys, one more issue comes here is that, okay, even if you selectively ban these particular websites, if you block the website or a service provider for a temporary period, they shut down their app, still it is possible to bypass that. How? By virtual private network. Virtual private network. So what is virtual private network? Virtual private network is a third party service that any person can take with a minimal charges, and through virtual private address what will happen, the request, see, whenever suppose I want to open a website Google, so I will send a request to my server. Okay, so my request will be sent from the Delhi based server. Okay, and in Delhi, if the Google is blocked, I cannot access. But if I'm using the VPN, what will happen? My request will be routed to some other country's server. For example, Switzerland server, okay, America's server, okay, Greece's server. Their Google might not be banned, so I can access Google even if it is banned. So even if you partially ban particular websites, it is possible to bypass them by VPN. Okay, we will discuss about the VPN also. Okay, so it is possible to bypass by the VPN, virtual private network. So basically guys, over the past few years, okay, I will come on this thing also. Over the past few years, against the VPN also, the government has developed a kind of an attitude that even VPN should be regulated. VPN should be regulated. Why? Because guys, so first of all, now see, suppose you are a person here and you want to access some website. When you use the internet through the virtual private network, all your request will go through a private tunnel. All your request will go through a private tunnel. And what you are requesting, okay, what website you are opening, that is not easily traceable. Now government today wants to trace the activities of the miscreants during the crisis time, and VPN become a problem. Now government has in the past approached the VPN also, that okay, you give us the information that what type of website has been opened by the people. VPN providers, they say that we don't maintain such data, so even the VPN providers are not cooperating with the government. So government even wants to find out that how we can bypass the virtual private order. But bypassing a virtual private order is not technically very much possible. In this respect, the Computer Emergency Response Team CERT-IN has published in 2022 the directions that VPN firms have to retain the records of the user from India who are using the VPN, what type of websites they are locating. But again, if the VPN companies want, they will give, otherwise you cannot track that particular thing. So this is one concern that will come. Now there is guys one more, so this is one development. There is also one more issue that I want to discuss with you, and earlier also we have discussed it. See, basically the TRAI is also asking the suggestions that whether they are also asking the suggestions that whether all the internet traffic should be treated equally or not. Now what is this particular thing? See, if you selectively ban the WhatsApp, if you selectively ban the messenger, that okay, in this region these two things cannot be used, other internet can be used. What has done, you have discriminated against the WhatsApp and messenger. It will go against the concept of net neutrality, internet neutrality. Internet neutrality provides that all the data should be treated equally, all the internet traffic should be treated equally. So this will go against the net neutrality. So on that particular thing also, the TRAI is holding the consultation. Fine. So one, this one is two, and then the third development that has come here is guys, the TRAI has also asked, the TRAI has also put forward this particular viewpoint that should we require these messaging platforms such as WhatsApp to take a license. Now you see this particular thing. How today, if today I have a mobile phone, and let's say in mobile phone I am using the services of the Airtel. Now Airtel has to take a license from the government of India if the Airtel has to give its services. It has to take license, it has to pay the spectrum fees and also charges. Then only the Airtel can give you the telecom services. But today the WhatsApp, they don't have to take any license, they don't have to pay any money. But today the calls are possible on WhatsApp also. Video call is possible on the WhatsApp also. So WhatsApp is providing you the call, Airtel is providing you the call, but the telecom operators have to pay so much of the money. These messengers, Facebook, they don't have to pay any money. They are also giving the call facility, but they are dependent on internet. So point is that these WhatsApp and all such, they are enjoying so much of dividends, but the telecom companies are one who have to pay so much. So telecom companies want that even on these WhatsApp and all such, there needs to be the imposition of licenses. They should pay the fees so that a level playing field could be created. Earlier TRI was not very much willing with this idea, but now the TRI is also exploring that yes, such thing could be done. And last year the Indian government has also come out with the telecommunication bill, and in this telecommunication bill also there is a proposal that the WhatsApp and these messenger platforms, they also have to take a license for providing their service. So this is something that has come. Fine. Then there is also one more development that now I want to discuss. So basically guys, already the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, they have passed the IT rules 2021, and under IT rules 2021 they can ask the WhatsApp that suppose suppose some fake news is circulating on the WhatsApp. Now they can request the WhatsApp that you tell us the original originator of that news. Okay, who was the person who originally created that news? Fine. Now suppose there are hundreds of people, they are just forwarding, but they are not the original creator. Original creator is someone else. So this type of condition could also be imposed. Now in this particular capacity guys, again these social media platforms such as WhatsApp, they will get involved. How? Basically today all the chats on the WhatsApp are end-to-end encrypted. Even WhatsApp cannot read that. What I am sending to you, nobody can read that. So point is that if you have to identify that information, then that end-to-end encryption has to be broken down, and then it might impact the privacy. So this also issue is going on. So guys, here cumulatively we have discussed all the major concerns that are happening. I hope that you have understood it, and now we'll move to the next article. Okay, fine. So here we have this article. What is the National Research Foundation? We'll see this particular article with respect to GS paper number 2, education, as well as GS paper number 3, research and development. We'll see this particular article. Now, basically guys, the article is talking about the NRF, National Research Foundation. So recently what has happened, the Union Cabinet has approved the National Research Foundation bill. Now, first of all, let's understand the background. Basically guys, when we talk about India, so gross domestic expenditure on research and development, GDERD, gross domestic expenditure on research and development, India just spends 0.7% of GDP equivalent on the research and development. However, when you take example of China, you take example of USA, these countries are spending more than 2% of their GDP on the research and development, but India is just spending 0.7%. And according to the Niti Aayog, India has to spend in the range of 2.5% to 3% if India wants to realize the dream of $5 trillion economy, but investment is not there. Now, national education policy that came in 2020, it suggested this particular thing, that you need to create a separate body which will focus on facilitating the investment in research and development, which will cooperate the grant funding for research and development. A dedicated new body is to be created, and for creating this body as per the mandate of NEP, now we are coming with the National Research Foundation. Okay, so what is this National Research Foundation? It will be a coordinating agency. That will coordinate the cooperation between the researchers, government bodies, industries, the funding. All these things will be coordinated by this dedicated body. Now guys, government's plan is that there is a 50,000 crore rupees budget that has been decided for the 5 years. Now this 50,000 crore will be given entirely by the government. Government will just give 14,000 crore, and rest 36,000 crore will be mobilized by the private sector. Because in India the participation of private sector in the research and development has not been that much, so private sector will also be giving. Now already guys, there was the Science and Engineering Research Board. This board will also be merged under the NRF, and its 4,000 crore rupee budget will also be used by the NRF. So 4,000 crore will come here. So it means that the government will give additional 10,000 crore rupees only. Now you are not required to go too much in detail that how many crore will come from where, but just keep an idea that a 50,000 crore rupees budget will be given partially by government and partially by the private sector. Now, basically guys, I told you okay, that India's expenditure on research and development is very much less. Now when we talk about guys, when we talk about the big economies, see China, USA, they are spending as a percentage more, but the size of their economy is also more. For example, suppose India's GDP is 100 rupees, America's GDP is 500 rupees. So 2% of 100 will be 2 rupees. 2% of but at the same time, when we talk about the 2% of the 500, it will become 10 rupees. So the differential is huge. And in this particular capacity, when we talk about guys, India's GDP, it is 7.6 and 5.1 times smaller than the GDP of the US and China. So in total, India's expenditure becomes 24 times less. India's expenditure becomes 24 times less than the expenditure by the US and China. So we need to invest more, and NRF might help in this direction. Now guys, what more should be done so that a better ease of science comes in India? How to make NRF even more effective? So some solutions can be given. This is a ready-made answer for your examination. Please note down these all the points. Number one, as this NRF will come, first of all, there should be basically timely, there should be a dedicated time. For example, I am a researcher, I am applying for a grant. Within 30 days I will be given the money. Within 15 days the money will be given. So there should be minimal time between the application of grant and the receipt of a grant, and the times could be around 6 months, minimal time. Then next is that there should be, the paperwork should be done digitally. Now it should not be the case that I will take bundles of papers to the government or the ministry or NRF's office. So all the paperwork should be digital, the application process should be digital. Then all the document related work should be done by the NRF, okay, and the finance department of the university or the research institution. For example, I am a researcher in the IISc. So my IISc, the institute will do all the formalities with the NRF, not me. Leave the researcher free to focus on research only. So all that particular burden, that particular thing should be done by the university and researcher. Then scientific research needs independent guidelines for spending money. Don't micromanage too much that okay, we have given you 500 rupees funding, you'll invest this money here, that money here, that money here. Give that money to the scientist, and too much of micromanagement of money that not need to be there. Independent guidelines for spending, and then again the release of money needs to be timely. So these are all the things that are needed to be kept in mind. And if all these particular things will be done, then effective ease of doing science will come in India. And this proposed NRF, this proposed body NRF, it is actually modeled on the National Science Foundation in the USA, okay, Germany, UK, fine. So in these countries, such kind of institutions have been there, which have been effective. Okay, so that is all about this. Fine. Now, guys, moving to the next article. Okay, welfare schemes may help poor children's brain grow normally. So this is an article that we have taken from the science page, and this article actually will be important for GS paper number 2, issues related to the education and social justice. Okay, now basically a very interesting connection has been made here in this particular article. Let's understand this particular thing. First of all, guys, see, basically what has happened since 1960s, many studies, many neuroscientists, they have come together and they have published these particular ideas that the poverty negatively impacts the brain development. Okay, so what has happened since 1960s, okay, neuroscientists are finding if you have grown up in poor environment where all the time money restriction constraints were there, your brain development would be less. Fine. Now, guys, it has been provided that the cortex, which is responsible for the cognitive function, the cortex development is poor in the children who are growing up in the poor families. And now a latest study has come, which has been released by the Harvard University and the Washington University. And this university is saying this particular thing, that apart from the cortex, the hippocampus development will also be restricted. There is a smaller hippocampus in those children who have grown in the poor families. Now, the hippocampus is responsible for memories, connections. Hippocampus is also related to the inequities. If the hippocampus will be small, it will lead to inequities in the physical and mental health outcomes. Okay, so the hippocampus cortex of the brain, they don't develop properly, and therefore the learning abilities, okay, the intellectual abilities of a child will be impacted. Okay, so here what has happened, the survey has been done on the number of people, number of children who have been born in poverty. Okay, now guys, basically, but at the same time, it has been said that the hippocampus was large in those families where the children, in those children who have grown in the well-off family, where the money constraint, financial constraints were not that much. Okay, now moving on in this particular direction, guys, at the same time, okay, now what is the solution for this thing? Fine, if a person is poor, will the people, the children who are poor, they will never be able to develop the intellectual capability? What is the solution? So the research has provided that if generous cash transfer, if good social security net, government is providing them the support, then basically their brain can develop properly, then the desperation will go down. So basically it has been provided that, see, it has been provided that the low income households which received the generous cash benefit, which received government subsidies in good number, in their children, the hippocampal volume were 34% larger than those households where the cash transfers or government support was not coming. So even if a household is poor, but they are receiving the government support, they are receiving the cash transfer, still the brain development will be proper. So government has to intervene in between and has to provide more generous cash transfer, more generous social security net, employment schemes, and all such kind of things. Okay. Now, when we talk about, guys, in the context of India, we see this particular thing, that in the context of India, poverty is also because of the systemic discrimination. You see, when we talk about India, the scheduled tribe, scheduled caste, and other backward classes, they are significantly more poor than the general categories. Particularly the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, they are more poor. Why? Because of the discrimination, that has happened on them. They are not allowed to do any type of work, so they are even more poor. So when SC/STs are concerned, more investments are to be done. So investment in this social safety net program will bring better outcomes, and later it will also be addressing the mental health, educational, economic challenges that are emerging. So a very, very good article. With respect to the examination. Fine. Now moving to the next article. How the CPI basket conceals the inflation picture. Again, a very good article. And this article will see with respect to the GS paper number 3 issues related to the inflation. Now, first of all, guys, I would like to give you a very basic idea that you need to have first, and then we will take this particular article. Now see this particular thing. What is inflation? Inflation is general price rise in the price of most of the commodities. So when most of the commodities price has increased, we'll say that the inflation has come. With the inflation, the purchasing capacity will go down. The real value of the money will go down. 15 years back, in 100 rupees, I could have bought the entire week's grocery. But today in 100 rupees, I can buy the grocery for just 1 or 2 days. So 100 rupee note is same, but the real value of the 100 rupee has declined because of the inflation. Now, how to measure the inflation? So basically, guys, we take the basket of goods. Okay, and that basket of goods price in a particular year, a base year, is taken. Now, in this basket of goods, we will put a lot of things. For example, we will put torch, we will put shampoo, we will put onion, we will put here pan masala. A lot of things will be put in this basket. Suppose the price of this basket, now I am giving you a very simple explanation. There will be some technicalities that will come, but I am not going right now in that. So suppose the price of this basket was 100 rupees now. Today the price of basket is, let's say, 110 rupees. I will say the inflation is 10%. So basically the basket and in that goods, their price we are saying, they play a very important role in determining the inflation. Now you see guys, today the inflation we have the CPI, consumer price index, okay, for which the retail inflation is seen. Now when we talk about this CPI, consumer price index basket, in this basket the type of goods that are there is torch, radio, tape recorder, CD, DVD, audio video cassette, trunk, okay, and all other 300 items are there. Now you tell me, do you use today radio? Do you use today tape recorder? Do you today use those audio video cassette? No, you don't use it, but still their prices are being seen to track the inflation. So will the inflation be properly reflective? No. Today we use internet. So if you want to see the impact of inflation on the people, see how prices of the internet data is increasing. Today we want digital services. So see their prices, how they are increasing. By with that you will be able to tell better the condition of inflation. So we need to change the CPI basket immediately if we need to track the goods in the CPI basket are immediately to be changed if you have to track the inflation's movement. Now guys, when we talk about the present consumer price index, the base year is 2012 and different categories are there. For example, food and beverages, they have been given 45.86% weight. Pan, tobacco and intoxicants, they have been given this much weight. Likewise, the different categories of items are there and the weightage has been given. Now guys, if you see the weightage of food in the CPI basket, it was 60%, 60.9% in 1960, but today the food is just 45%. So we have seen that as from 1960 to 2012, the income increased. As the development came, the weightage to the food item has been given. And guys, that will happen. As the income will increase, our expenditure as a part of our total income on the food will decline. Let me give you a very simple example, you'll understand this thing. Suppose earlier I was earning 100 rupees and I was spending 10 rupees on food. So 10% of my income, 10% of my income is going on food. Okay, 10% of my income is going on food. Now today I am earning 1000 rupees. Obviously, earlier I was eating 10 rupees food. Now I will not eat 500 rupees food. My food consumption will go to 15 rupees, let's say. Or let's say my food consumption went to 220 rupees, double. So if you see 20 rupees as 1000 rupees proportion, that 20 rupees is just a 2%. Okay. So understand this thing, as the income will increase, your expenditure as a percentage proportion to your income, fine, it will go down. Moreover, as guys the development will come, we will not just be spending on food, we will spend on education, we will spend on health, we will spend on recreation. So therefore, as the economy will develop, less weightage is given to the food and more weightage is given to the other things also. More weightage is given to the other things also. Okay, so this is something that has happened. Now guys, when we talk about India, you see this particular thing. We also still give a lot of weightage to the cereals. 9.67% weightage is given to the cereals. Cereals means wheat, rice, etc. But you see, right now so much weightage is not to be given. Why? Because first of all guys, as the incomes will increase, the growth will come, people will not spend money on cereals, carbohydrates, they will consume protein, they will consume fat. So that thing has also to be seen. Secondly guys, what has happened, government under the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Ann Yojana and through the National Food Security Act is giving a lot of rice, wheat at a very subsidized price. So when you will take that particular account, you have not taken that. And then one more issue that comes guys in this particular direction is that, see, when we talk about the condition of poverty, when we talk about the status of economic condition of the people, how you will know whether the people are earning more or less, whether their economic condition is improved or declined. How you know that? You know that particular thing by some surveys, and for that particular thing we do the consumption expenditure survey. Now guys, last consumption expenditure survey that happened was in 2011-12. In 2017-18 it happened, but report is not released. So last data we have is 2011-12. Now again the government is doing the consumption expenditure survey, but the report will be released by the end of the 2024, or by the mid of the 2024. After that, this basket will be revised. It will take 2 more years, and for 2 more years we will calculate the inflation on the redundant data. So guys, this article is talking about that immediately we need to revise our inflation calculation methodologies. Okay, so that is all about it. And now moving to the next article. Quiet diplomacy could ease South China Sea tension. Okay, now first of all guys, this article will see with respect to the GS paper number 2 issues, GS paper number 2, international relation and international affairs. Okay, now guys, here you see this particular region. Here we have the South China Sea. Now basically guys, the article is talking about two of the developments. We'll see these both developments one by one in the detail. Now see this particular thing, what has happened recently. First of all, the foreign ministers of India and Philippines, they have signed the Philippines India Joint Commission on Bilateral Cooperation, where India and Philippines will be cooperating on the defense front. Now when we talk about guys, India and Philippines both have 75 years of diplomatic history, and now we are strengthening our defense framework between the two countries. Okay, we are taking up the defense relations between the Philippines and India fine on the 21st century trajectory. Just a minute. Now first of all, let's briefly discuss that what are the takeaways, what are the agreements that have been signed during this India Philippines defense cooperation. First of all, the agreement has been signed that a resident defense attaché office in Manila would be opened. So Indian Defense Ministry will be opening a defense office in Manila, Philippines. Second thing is that cooperation between the coast guards, Indian Coast Guard and Philippines Coast Guard, will be done. Then the acquisition of naval assets by the Philippines. Philippines will acquire the boats from India on the money that will be given by India. So India will also give the line of credit. Then the expansion of training and joint security on maritime expansion and training and joint exercises will be increased. So our army, our coast guard, our defense forces, Philippines defense forces, our coast guard, their coast guard, they will do more and more joint exercises where the tactical training will be shared with each other. So these are the factual information that has come out of this agreement. Then guys, the next thing that has happened is that basically India and Philippines have also signed the agreement on regional and multilateral issues. Both countries have agreed that they will support the maritime highways, they will support the free navigation in the South China Sea. Okay, also India had said that we follow the UN clause, United Nations Convention on the Law of the Seas. Now what does this particular issue means here? Let's understand this thing. Now guys, see this particular thing. As per the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Seas, it provides that what will be the maritime claim of a particular country. Suppose this is the coast. Now 12 nautical miles from the coast will be the territorial waters of that particular country. This is the part of your country, 12 nautical miles. Then the next 12 nautical miles, they are called as the contiguous zone. Okay, and from here till 200 nautical mile, this particular region is called as the exclusive economic zone. And in exclusive economic zone, the country will have right that they can mine the minerals from here for economic purposes, they can use it, all that particular kind of thing. Okay, so in exclusive economic zone, the country whose coast is there, they will have the right who provided UN clause. Now guys, what has happened? If you come and if you see this particular picture here that we have seen, just a minute. So here if you see the South China Sea. So basically in this region, the Philippines will have a claim, the Vietnam will have a claim, China will have a claim, but in entire South China Sea is claimed by the China only. China doesn't recognize the claims for the Philippines, and China is showing a kind of a hegemony at this particular place. So the India says that we recognize what UN clause says, means we recognize the Philippines claim. So this is something that India has provided. Fine. So this is all about this thing. Fine. Now guys, further moving on in this particular direction. Now as we talk about this Philippines and China's South China dispute, Philippine and China's South China dispute, this dispute has already been taken up in the Permanent Court of Arbitration, Hague. In 2013, this matter already reached to the Permanent Court of Arbitration in Hague. And PCA has already said that the Philippines claim is just. Philippines claim is right in this particular region and it should be given by the China. But China has withdrawn from this particular claim. China doesn't follows that. Okay. Tribunal also find that China has violated the sovereign rights of the Philippines. But the China is not listening this thing. So guys, in this particular direction, we find that India is now the Philippines is supporting the India. India has not directly involved in any confrontation with China, but indirectly have said that we support the UN clause. We support the UN clause. Now, when we talk about the South China Sea, the region is very important for the free navigation. Okay, and therefore the region needs to be kept free. But at the same time, any confrontation, if it will happen into the South China Sea, be it the Philippines and China, okay, or any other country, then it will be impacting. The freedom of navigation in the South China Sea negatively. So right now, the quiet diplomacy is to be taken up by the Philippines. Philippines should take the matter to the different countries such as India, US, and such countries, and should try to influence the China so that the China agrees. Okay. Fine. Now we have this article, ISKCON punishes monk for inappropriate remarks. So basically guys, one of a monk, he has made some inappropriate remarks against the Swami Vivekanand, Ramakrishna Paramhans, who happens to be very important leaders in history as well as the spiritual traditions of India. Now what you need to see, you are not required to go and see the video what statement was done, but you see this particular thing, that the spiritual leaders, fine, they have a sensitive role to play. They can influence the young generation in a positive and in constructivist way, and should help them, okay, to seek their spiritual upliftment, should take them on their right path. So the religious leaders, while they are on the internet, they have to be responsible. Okay, so that is all guys about it. Fine. And now coming to the now guys, moving to the next article. Now moving to the mains practice question for the today. So mains practice question for today is, how is the NRF planning to make research and development easier? Is the funding too less when compared to the nation's GDP? So this will be the GS paper number 2, GS paper number 3, 10 marker question. So that is all guys about it. I hope that you have understood it. Thank you so much.